Good evening and welcome to Savage Universe. I am JM, and with me tonight is GM James. You may recognize James from, that exactly, Random Nerddom. That guy. Why are we talking to that guy? That's a good question. And the answer to that question is, of course, because DM James and the Knights of the Smith Dinner Table are doing a actual play on the Pinnacle Channels, our Altered Morality campaign, which we're going to talk about, but they also have a ton of great Savage World content, including Reign of Winter, and we're going to talk about all this different stuff. James, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. Doing absolutely.
So, why do we have you on here tonight? No, how is talk to us about, first of all, the Knights of the Smith Dinner Table and what exciting things you have going on right now.
All right. So as of right now, we are still continuing our most popular show, Tales from the Deadlands. We are steadily, week by week, encroaching upon the 10,000 downloads for that show. That's huge.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we're really excited to be hitting that milestone. And we've also got the Savage Snows. So yeah, Random Nerddom is Mike. He plays Charles.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
And you do know both of those guys. Briefly, we were both going to play gunslingers in your campaign, but I'm going to switch out to a Magus.
Hey, Foundry gave us that option, Val.
We learned it from you, Val. We learned it from you.
So we also have the Savage Snows, which is a live stream of Pathfinder for Savage Worlds, Reign of Winter, like you said. If you're not caught up on that, there is a humdinger of a cliffhanger for the latest episode. And we're going to find out this coming Monday exactly what happened to the heroes. Oh,
you want to let people know what the cliffhanger was?
So the heroes had managed to fight their way all the way to the top of the Pale Tower, which is what's causing the winter back in their home country of Taldor. And they took down the guy who's in charge of maintaining the tower, while the witch, Najena, is currently out of town. And as they were performing the ritual via dramatic task, our gunslinger critically failed on the dramatic task with a club. So we'll see what happens to them. It could be a total party kill.
Hey, you said you had tea to spill.
I do. So, and it involves our Altered Morality show. We have a...
Well, okay, so for those of you who aren't watching the incredible Altered Morality actual play, first of all, do it and you get a Benny. Second of all, if you've been watching, take a Benny. Unless you're John Doom, because he'll just use it against me.
He will. He absolutely will.
It is necessary evil.
It is. And so far, they have already managed to get a building dropped on them by the hero Nevermore. And tonight's episode starts with they started chasing Nevermore after he blew up the building around them. And we went through it was almost a whole episode of just that dramatic chase. And as the last episode ended, they caught up to Nevermore, and now they need to fight him because Ironhead Tony wants Nevermore dead. That's true. That is very true.
Drop a building on Ronnie. That is true. And yes, John Doom, scheduling is the big bad evil guy of all Savage Worlds campaigns. Yes, I agree with Cripwright. Cripwright says, I highly recommend their show. So much contagious laughter and also some game stuff. Yeah, so is that a computer virus that transmits it, Cripwright? The contagious laughter? Anyway.
Who knows?
So you dropped a building on Ronnie, plus one.
Did drop a building on the entire group. thought we were going to lose the Weaver, who's played by Cece. And hopefully in some of our upcoming episodes, we're going to have a part-time cast member joining in. His name is Madman Finrer. If you're not familiar with him, on YouTube and TikTok, he makes the America Wizard series. And I've got a link, the first one there, JM.
Yes, I am.
Links to his...
I am on it. I have one job, and that's just to
put one job.
Links in the chat. Dance, monkey, dance!
So he will be joining us on occasion. Right now, his goal is to, ironically enough, he makes the show America Wizard, and he's not American. So he is in the process of moving to the U.S., but right now he lives in Israel, and the time difference is a little brutal. So he'll be making a little
killer, yeah.
He'll be making the occasional appearance on our show starting out, and then eventually he will be joining us, hopefully, as a full-time cast member.
Awesome.
And he is an absolutely amazingly funny guy. When we were working everything out, we had like a 3-hour conversation on Discord, just chatting back and forth and having a good time. So he's going to be a great fit when he gets on the show.
Do we know what his villain is?
He is going to be playing not necessarily a villain, not necessarily a hero. He's actually going to be playing the America Wizard. And I've actually gone through, and from everything I've seen from his little skits, I created the America Wizard in Necessary Evil, and it's going to work beautifully.
Did you give super sorcery?
I did.
Enough said.
Enough said. But the other thing that we have coming up on the 24th of May,
okay,
some jerk that's in the chat there is going to be running an adventure that he wrote on our Hit Me With Your One Shot, as we are finally getting to bring back our Hit Me With Your One Shot show. It's going to be a monthly production,
awesome.
One Saturday every month. It will vary on which Saturday, so we'll make sure we get plenty of notice, so that way people can watch. But John Doom is going to be running
John Doom?
Garden Gnome Mayhem.
Oh, I was going to ask which one is he doing, because like Stone Balls is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
All of the other Earth-based Oregon adventures are fantastic, but Random Nerdin wants in on that.
Yes, Mike, you can get in on that. My plan is to let John run it, and I'm going to run the back end of it, and actually not be on one of my shows for once, and just kind of sit in the background. Right?
What?
That's
the dream. When I was streaming like twice a week,
stuff.
I would have. Yeah.
So
I'm
still in the process of putting the cast together, and Mike already knew that he had a spot if he wanted it. He's
Mike
just
suckered me in. I was like,
but yeah, I mean, we are super excited to be adding all this stuff, especially getting. Oh, I agree, Val.
Yeah, I would find a way to pay you to do that, Crip, right? Because every time you join BTS, it is. I enjoy the shows more.
And yeah, that's another thing. I'm going to be on your show Behind the Screen in June.
I'm looking forward to it. By the end of May, I'm going to put together I've got my map almost done to show off all the features I love about Arkenforge. And then I'll do that. And then I'll have you on to do a discussion of Arkenforge as well. Which, I mean, multiple hats here. None of these are actually your day job.
No, none of them are my day job. Because I work for Arkenforge. I run all their conventions in the U.S. that we're able to get out to. So like this year we're doing Gen Con like we always do. We already did Gary Con. Gary Con, if you've never been to Gary Con, I highly recommend it, because the legends of gaming are literally just walking around talking.
Yeah, next year that's my number one con to go to.
Absolutely. I got to meet Kelsey
Dion.
Yes, Kelsey Dion from Shadow Dark, and it was amazing meeting her. I met Ed Stark of Birthright fame, and he and I
did not know you were a Birthright fan.
I am a huge Birthright fan.
This is now officially, here, let me turn off the Savage Universe background. This is now officially a Birthright discussion.
Ed and I are working on some stuff together as well. He's going to get together with us because imagine sitting down, and it's funny how we met because one of the guys who was supposed to go with us to Gary Con unfortunately was sick. Our cast member Dave, and he had signed up for a Dark Space, which is a sci-fi version of Shadow Dark.
Okay.
And I sit down and I look across the table, and Ed Stark is sitting right across from me.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was absolutely amazing. So I played in this 4-hour game with Ed Stark, and then he and I started talking afterwards, and he's like, wait, you're Knights of the Smith dinner table? And I find out that he's a fan of ours.
No.
Right? I'm like, what the heck? All right, let's see what we can do. So next year, we're going to be at his convention that he runs, the Philly Area Gaming Expo, rather than doing...
Yeah, I was going to ask that same question. Did you ask him why he didn't just kill Cersei and her kids? Why did he give her the opportunity to? Yeah. Although it is just a wonderful coincidence that one of the writers of Birthright has a name very similar to one of the main characters in a Game of Thrones.
It really makes me wonder what GRW was thinking.
Well, you know that it was originally a D&D game.
I did not know that.
Yes, and the other thing that I love is there's this story of, I don't think I have it over there, but I can't reach it. Chaosium put out this game called Super World. It was BRP superheroes. And he turned the entire New Mexico Writers Club onto this. And apparently, according to legend, like people were losing relationships, people were missing work to show up for this game, and their houses were going to be foreclosed on. And so they decided we need to make money at this. We're all a writers club. So they wrote the campaign up and Martin edited it. And that's where the Wildcard novels came from. And that the Wildcard novel, writing the Wildcards novels is what killed the RPG because they were suddenly so busy writing the superhero stories. They didn't want to get together to play the superhero stories.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to. But instead of doing PAX Unplugged, which we did not have a very good time this past year, PAX Unplugged, yeah. And I talking with other vendors, not a whole lot of people had a very good time this year. Jody
Sean Bond does always die.
Jody and Clint, they had an amazing year because I guess they sold some of their tables right off the floor. But yeah. Exactly, Val. PAX is starting to be brutal if you've been there more than a few times. It's a little brutal to sell your stuff still. So rather than going to PAX, we're going to Page and hanging out with Ed Stark, which should be an amazing weekend.
When is that convention? Just out of idle curiosity.
It's towards the beginning. I think it's like the first or the second weekend of January. So it's
okay. So it's a little bit later than PAX.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, the one that all of us Savage Worlds folks love,
Gamehole Con.
Gamehole Con. We will be there again because we had such a fun time last year. And Gamehole is quickly going to become much like Gary Con, I feel, where I don't care if I make the money back that I spend to go there because it's just so much fun to be there.
I will see you at Gamehole Con this year, and I will see you at Gary Con next year. Yeah. I've heard nothing but great things about Gary Con, and that's my old stomping grounds. So,
yeah, I mean, we had a blast, and I'm going to see if I can get in to maybe run a couple of games and possibly even play in a few games. I'm going to try and get my folks out so they can play a few games. So that way we're not working the entire weekend because working the entire weekend around all those games kind of really sucks.
It can stink.
So, but yeah, we're going to be out and about doing all kinds of crazy things. And I'm super excited to see, Tracy, I'm going to have to look and see if I can sign up for your games. Because if you're running something for the Han cluster, I'm definitely wanting to steal a spot in that. Because playing in the test group with JM was amazing. I had a blast. So... yeah, right, Tink? I would love. There's like the chat just keeps flowing.
Crip, right? That is not true. We invited you to sit down with Rick Meinz with us, and we just hung out for about an hour at the end of last Gamehole Con. But yes, depending on the time you catch me at Gamehole Con, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm like, JM's energy battery is gone. I'm going to go.
I don't know what he's talking about. I never had any problems catching up with you.
Let's try to. Well, I mean, yeah, I am definitely planning on running games at Gamehole Con this year. If you're going to Chupa, I'm running 2 games at Chupacabra Con.
I wish I could go to Chupa, but as of right now, it's out of our financial planning.
There is a rumor that this will be the doomiest.
I heard that. I heard that jerk is going to be there.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't come to GaryCon with me. I invited him to come to GaryCon with us. We were giving him a place. All he had to do was like spend a few hours in the booth. You know, he would have met people like, you know, Vince Vaughn, John Manganiello, Ed Stark, Kelsey Dion. He would have met all those people like we did. But no.
Next year. Next year, I'll take my flight from Dallas to Phoenix and black bag John Doom.
I am 100% okay with this.
Me. All right, so Peg Inc. says the Really Dapper Motorcycle Club. So I just have to. So at Chupa last year, Landauer and I and Tink were there. We got to hang out with the ETU guys, and we got to see Ronnie. And Dustin of Chaosium was like, well, hey, you guys want to go do breakfast? There's this really great breakfast spot in San Marcos. So we're like, all right, whatever, Dustin. We love Dustin. Like, let's go out to dinner. First of all, it was one of the best breakfast places I've ever been to. And no, I will not tell you the name because it's my spot. But Landauer and Dustin and I and Tink are at breakfast. And we're all kind of like Dustin is the one facing this direction. And Dustin, you got to like, he's talking to, and there's a dozen people in like old Southern like finery. Like one guy has like the full linen suit with the pocket watch and the eye monocle and the handlebar mustache. We're like, oh my gosh, are these Call of Cthulhu LARPers? Because they're all older than any of us at the table, and they're all dapper dressed. And we've come up with this whole story about how they're here for ChupaCon. They're probably doing a Call of Cthulhu LARP. Dustin went and talked to them. They are a motorcycle club. They ride every one Sunday a month, and they only ride British motorcycles. It was. I mean, I want to meet them when I grow up.
Did he introduce them to Call of Cthulhu then?
He should have.
He should have. Because I got to talk a little with Dustin at GaryCon, and it was good.
Dustin's a great guy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Our new show, well, it's not new; it's our returning show. We've passed 30 episodes on both Savage Snows and Tales from the Deadlands, and I really want to, Alan. I really want to go, but I can't justify it yet, and they haven't pulled us off of the waiting list yet.
Oh, are you still on the waiting list at Origins?
Yes, and I'm thinking there might be other like mapping software there, and usually when somebody gets stuck on the waiting list, it's because there's other, especially at the smaller conventions, it's because there's other programs or products that are very similar.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Although I might see if I can make my way down, because I think that's going to be happening when my wife is off on family vacation. I'm not able to go with my family for the family vacation this year because I don't have seniority to take the time off, and like 2 other paramedics are taking the time off at the same time I wanted to. So
yeah,
I was told, nope.
Damn it.
So maybe I'll sneak down because Origins is only about 2.5 hours from me.
Yeah, you're in the area, if I remember correctly.
I live in Northeast Ohio.
Awesome.
Way up in, just outside of Tornado Alley.
That's a good place to be, I guess.
When I lived down in Dayton, I didn't mind the tornadoes, except for when 27 of them went right through downtown Dayton.
I'm at the, if you start where James is and follow Tornado Alley southwest.
He's at the other end of it.
I'm at the extreme other end of Tornado Alley. I used to live in Eastern Illinois. So I was smack dab. Like, there are certain noises that you only grow up hearing if you lived in Tornado Alley. And at the first Tuesday of every month, it was the tornado siren.
It's the first Monday in Ohio.
Yeah, it's a very specific sound.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about your Patreon real quick. I'm going to toss this over here.
So, as everybody knows, it does get expensive to run shows. You know, paying for the websites, paying for the hosting services and all of that. So if any of you folks have it in your heart to go and throw a few dollars our way in our Patreon, one, there's actual swag that's attached to it. So like there's t-shirts, there's coffee mugs, things like that when you've been a subscriber to our Patreon for a few months. Now John is a Southwestern Wisconsinite. Yeah, because he wimped out and moved into the desert.
That's right. He keeps trying to tell me that it's a dry 250 degrees.
Right. So, yeah, if you've got it in your heart to head on over to our Patreon, toss us a few bucks. It doesn't take much.
It's true. Like every little bit helps.
For a while, it was purely coming out of my pocket. And we've managed to pick up a few folks here and there on the Patreon, and every little bit helps. Also, at some point during every one of our shows, I mentioned the coupon codes that we have. We do have coupon codes for Arc and Forge. Every time you use our coupon code with Arc and Forge product, we get some of the money. So that also helps. Yeah.
Very cool.
And then, while we don't get any of the money, we are huge friends with Norse Foundry. And so we always send people to them because, I mean, once you have a set of Norse Foundry dice, it's hard to go back to plastic dice. Yeah. I have like 15 sets at this point.
Yeah, I think I only have one. I have 2 sets of Norse Foundry. I've got those ones, and then I have their wooden dice. And the wooden dice are just...
Yes.
John, you never insult another man's knives, especially when he is holding them. It's just bad practice. Yes, those are the Norse Foundry dice that I got from Landauer when he came down and helped celebrate my You Didn't Die Day.
True. I will wholeheartedly agree with that, Val. I like the heavier dice myself.
Mm-hmm.
I typically get the zinc alloy dice. And like John said up there, the delicious Poppets coffee. Poppets has been one of our sponsors since the beginning. They are actually a local company to Ohio, run by a woman. So you would be supporting a female business owner, and they do make some of the most amazing coffee. Every time somebody new joins our crew, they get to taste Poppets coffee for the first time, and everybody has just been gobsmacked. So, John,
really,
if you're coming to Gamehole Con and staying with me, you will get to try Poppets coffee.
What would it take to have you bring me some?
I mean, I'm sure we can work something out.
Okay. Like, I don't normally ask people to mule things for me, but...
Yeah, they do deliver anywhere in North America.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, we've got those great partnerships that we have going on. We've got, see Tracy, the bad luck with metal dice. I don't have that with my Norse Foundry dice because I think they enamel the paint in.
Yeah. The only other set that I like, but I got to be careful with, I bought, did you go see the ceramic dice guys at Gamehole?
I did not. I didn't even realize they were there.
So I've got this blood splatter set. I don't know if they'll come through.
Ooh. Oh.
But you cannot roll ceramic dice next to gemstone dice because the ceramic dice will win hard and but they have this great texture to them. They have almost the dice has grip to it, if that makes sense.
I keep eyeing the bone dice that Norse Foundry has.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big believer in forgiveness is easier to get than permission. but I don't think my wife would forgive me for that one because they are a touch expensive.
The only other metal die I have that I like the weight, but I'm afraid to roll it because I have a glass tabletop, is my bronze D20, and I have chipped things.
That's why I got one of those dice trays of holding from Norse Foundry, so I didn't roll my metal dice right on the table.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Norse Foundry dice are great. I think Tink got for one of her kids at Gen Con what they called the party dice. They're like the white gemstone that just like have a prism effect in them. Those guys do just amazing dice.
I actually bought those dice for my wife.
Yeah.
So like the light hits them and it just makes the whole die glow with natural lighting from the inside.
Yeah, they're amazing. Now you guys can find all of James's great shows over at knightsofthesmithdinnertable.com. I'm posting that link in the chat right now. And
it actually has links to not only our shows, but to Poppets Coffee. So if you want to support a US-based company that doesn't burn their beans, they actually roast the beans the same day they ship them out to you. So it's as fresh as it can get. It also has links to our Patreon, and I'm slowly working on getting our merch up. I need to fix a foobar of mine from our previous set of merch because, you know, the guy who was designing this stuff put the logo on the back of the shirt rather than the front. And so you had to be behind a person wearing our shirt to see it.
Yeah.
That guy's an idiot. I need to fire him.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. It's like... but from what I hear, Tink sources her own bone.
Dice.
Yeah.
Tink, we need to talk.
Yeah, there's a... Yeah, it's the best way. It's the best way to get bone dice.
I mean, I can help with the sourcing because a paramedic is the first person. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't go down that rabbit hole.
Honestly, I don't know where your fingers went. So I am so excited that we got Altered Morality up and running on the Pinnacle channel. You and I had been talking about another show, and I was like, well, what would you be able to do it on this? I think we talked about it at GameholeCon.
We did, yeah.
First time.
That's where the original discussion started.
Yeah.
Between you, me, and Landauer. And then it kept getting pushed back because not all three of us could get together at the same time. And then it finally happened. And then the show finally happened.
Yeah.
So everybody was involved. Who's involved was super excited. I reconnected with an old friend of mine from high school. It's Nathaniel, the one who plays Concertina.
Okay.
So that was fun. And bringing an old friend of mine that I used to game with back in high school back in was just phenomenal, getting to add him back in.
That's one of the great joys of gaming in this time period is the fact that, I get to, like, once a year, I have a bunch of my old gaming group. They descend on my house for a weekend. We get to play for a weekend, and it's awesome. Like, we get to keep the band back together, if you will.
Devin Knight does something similar. He and his friends meet once a year at a campground.
Yeah.
Do you know who Devin Knight is? The tokens guy. He does top-down tokens.
Oh, okay.
And he's also here in Ohio. So it's like all of us Ohio creators somehow like meet randomly in different places. But he has some. Yeah, he also is the one who did our logos. The Knights.
Oh, very cool.
Logos. So yeah, he does the same thing. Everybody gathers together.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and it's like we're having our 10th anniversary of the original event, but I still get to see these guys on a fairly regular basis because of things like Arkenforge and Foundry. Big shout out to both James and Cryptwright because I use both in my campaigns, and I mean, it used to be like
two great tastes that taste great together.
That's right, because I can export directly from Arkenforge to Foundry, and I have not had my personalized tutorial of how to use Arkenforge as a VTT yet. That's on me. That's not on you. You keep going, hey, I'm free. And I'm like, nah, I just had an event. So
I mean, I showed you how to use it at least. Just
yeah.
not how to
Oh
do
man, the map that I'm putting together for my group, and then I have, you got to send me the link. So one of the cool things about ArkenForge is you can get this infrared sensor from Amazon and turn any TV into essentially a touch screen for using minis on the TV. Because of the way the infrared sensor interacts with ArkenForge, you can assign tokens. So if somebody picks up the mini and moves it, they're aware, hey, the IR touch overlay frame.
Yes. And it's absolutely phenomenal. And then with the in-person game that I'm getting ready to start, and this is not one that's going to be broadcast or recorded or anything. This is just
it's one that I will know about because DM James will send me write-ups.
It's just 4 people who have never played, plus my wife. Any of you who watch Tales from the Dead or watch or listen to Tales from the Deadland knows my wife. She plays Daisy.
Yes, she does.
And we're going to have the TV flat on the table. I'm going to have the touch screen up, so that way these guys can move their tokens across the board. And like I said, the 4 of them have never played before, and I am super excited for that. So, of course, what am I going to start them with? Curse of the Crimson Throne.
Nice. John, that's a good question. ArkenForge supports modern and sci-fi as well as
and Western and post-apocalyptic. And we've actually got coming up, I think in May, I'd have to double check. We have the Dark Fantasy Kickstarter coming.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
So I'm super excited. I've already got some of the assets, and we're showing them off at the conventions now too, because all of my folks have access to that pack.
Oh, so I get to see them at Gen Con.
You'll get to see them at Gen Con. Actually, hopefully by then the Kickstarter will be done and over with, and I'll have the full asset pack to show off.
Very cool.
Which will most likely be Random Nerdum, Mike, sitting down in front of everybody and live mapping, because that's one of the big things we do. Is every day we have a new map being built by one of the people.
Well, I remember you saying that at GaryCon, you built one of the maps for Kelsey Dion, one of the adventures that came out of the.
Yeah, it's one of the single card adventures.
Yeah,
and I took it, and with a lot of interruptions, if you condense the total time I spent on it, it was 4 hours. And if you go to Norse Foundry's Twitch, or it might be on their YouTube now, we did a live stream of Shadow Dark on Norse Foundry's channel for Extra Life Weekend.
Oh, very cool.
And we had a lot of fun playing it. I am not a D&D 5e fan at all, and I loved Shadow Dark. It was just a ton of fun. It is okay, so it's still on their Twitch and it's on their YouTube.
Very cool.
You can actually see the map that I made over the course of 4 total hours.
Yeah.
Which, of course, was broken up because
you're doing speedles, you're interacting with people.
So, it was a lot of fun, and getting to meet Kelsey was an absolute blessing because she is such a wonderful person.
Now, are you going to get her on the show? Is the real question.
Maybe. She and I had a discussion, and once the Western Reaches Kickstarter stuff is done and over with, then we're going to talk about her coming on and running a Hit Me With Your One Shot, using a map that I'll probably build for her, so that way we can run it in for our show. Because she absolutely fell in love with the map. It took her forever to get over there because everybody wanted to talk to Kelsey.
Oh, of course, yeah. Especially in the middle of the Kickstarter.
But when she came over and she saw the map, she absolutely fell in love with it. And she's like, I don't even need the descriptions of the rooms. You put everything in there that was described on the card. And so she absolutely fell in love with what I was doing with it. So she's excited. I'm excited. And hopefully it will be by the end of summer that I get her on for that.
Awesome.
For one of our Hit Me With Your One Shots. Some of the other games that we're going to play for Hit Me With Your One Shot, because, well, yes, we are primarily a Savage Worlds group, and they will probably tear Savage Worlds out of our hands once we're dead, and that'll be when they'll finally be able to do it. But the Hit Me With Your One Shot is giving us an opportunity to. We're going to play some Delta Green. We're going to play
very cool
Shadow Dark. We're going to play just various other games that we typically don't touch. And I'm going to try, when I can, I'm going to try and pull somebody in who's associated with that game to run the game for us. It really helps that our name has gotten out there, because that gets me through a lot of the introduction stuff, and then getting somebody into the show, it just gets easier that way. Awesome. So I'm really excited, and I am I am so excited to play Delta Green. It might be my sadistic nature, because that game is so messed up. I'm wondering.
John just really wants me to run an Urban Decay game for him, but I would do a Hit Me With Your One Shot of Urban Decay or Jackals.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to run something, we will more than happily.
Let's chat.
We will definitely chat.
What's the
Tracy? If you're still there, if you want to do one with us, JM has my contact info for you, because I would love to get Tracy on here. She isn't. I've met her a few times. I know she probably doesn't recognize me right off that, because it's only been kind of an passing thing. But I would love to get Tracy. The few times I've spoken with her, I've loved it, and I would love to get Tracy on our shows as well.
What is the adventure that I am thinking of? Greg Stoltz, he wrote an amazing Delta Green adventure that I have wanted to run. I got to play in it at.
I'm sure I have it, because I got the Humble Bundle.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Is that Humble Bundle still up? Wait, no, I don't need.
No, I don't think it's up anymore. I think
I don't need it anymore. So it's an adventure where, it's a series of adventures, and the idea is each adventure introduces only one component of the rule system, and each adventure is 80% lethal as designed. So that the idea is, so the first one, you're on a space shuttle and there's a Cthulhian entity, but you're all astronauts. So you're just learning how the skill system works.
Oh, and that sounds like so much fun.
Then the next adventure, you're CDC investigating a plague outbreak, and then you're a spec ops team. And so the idea is, when you get through all of these adventures, you have your Delta Green cell, because only 1 or 2 people per adventure have survived, but you're learning only one component of the game system. I was control group. That's it. It's
okay.
Fantastic.
And Tracy, I look forward to that. Like Mike said there, our previous Hit Me With Your One Shots featured Alb with his Big Apple Sewer Samurai. Mike actually ran that adventure. Alb was one of the players. Then I ran the one for Holler with Tim as one of our players. So
I think that might have been the first one I watched.
That might have been, because we also did the Weeby Goblins Pathfinder one that Mike Barbeau played in.
Man, that whole, I don't have any more of my Pathfinder or Pathfinder 2 stuff, but I still have like all of my free RPG day, Weeby Goblins 2, Weeby Goblins 3, Weeby Heroes.
Yep. And I had planned to keep doing those, but life just kept getting in the way. So hopefully eventually I will be able to pull most of that original group back together and do the rest of the absolutely, Tracy. Tim is such a joy to play with. But hopefully I'll be able to get back to doing the Weeby Goblins.
Awesome. Well, and he loves you, John Doom. I'm speaking for him.
I mean, to be fair, Mike seems to love everybody.
It's true. That's true. Well, James, any final thoughts? Any final things to share before we wrap up this Savage Universe?
No, I think we covered about everything that's going on with us.
I'm so glad that you're doing Altered Morality. I'm so glad that we get to play in a game. I get to play in a game with you, like on a weekly basis, as often as the two of us are able to, and that we're going to see more Knights of the Smith Dinner Table. And all right, I'm going to make the commitment on air. I will run an Urban Decay this summer on a hit me with the one shot if we can get the scheduling right, and as long as John Doom gets to play in it as well, and you build the map.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at what Mike posted.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Don't worry, Mike. It's on my show notes to say, hey, Altered Morality is starting in about an hour and 15.
That's true.
So you can hang out in our lobby or go do anything else until Twitch says, hey, come back and watch Altered Morality.
Yep. I'm probably going to go and like drink a beer or something.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna go have a whiskey. Yes, I mean, he killed. I think. How many people have actually died in our Savage Pathfinder game? The noble orc Rage Prophet, played by Landauer. The noble Alandarian, played by me. And
I wish I was there to see that death.
Oh man. What was it? It's something breathed on us, and I had one Benny left to soak, and I think John Doom did like 6 wounds, and I soaked 2 of them, and I had a free reroll because of my armor, and my free reroll came up double ones, and then it was just a series of domino effects, and
I love seeing the critical failures, especially in our Altered Morality game, because they always seem to happen at the perfect time.
Yeah.
There's something to go terribly wrong. And it's like, I know all of these people in person, so I know they're not like fudging for drama. I mean, this is just happening exactly as it needs to.
No, my table has said, like, when I started running I want to say it was my 2E game. I started a 2nd edition D&D game it was my RuneQuest Glorantha game. Like, guys, you guys don't understand something. The dice tell a story in this game, and that's become the mantra.
Yeah, that's right, Rigger. That is definitely Jody rubbing off on everybody.
Yeah, you got to embrace the failure, right?
And one of the things that like Dave says. And for those of you who don't know, David Scott, he's also part of Atomic Ninja Studios.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things he says that I absolutely live by now is sometimes a failure is more interesting than a success.
Yeah. I don't know where I got it. In my academic nature, it galls me that I cannot correctly attribute this quote. But basically, I read somewhere, it's like, listen, if you got through the whole campaign and you got everything you wanted and no one was injured or died, you had no agency in that game.
No.
I completely believe that. That was one of the things I liked about Burning Wheel. To level up a skill, you had to get failures equal to your skill, and then success is equal to half. So you actually had to attempt things that you had no chance of succeeding at, just to learn something.
I thought that was a very interesting way to raise skills.
Yeah. Well, James, thank you so much. We'll let you go out and grab a beer before Altered Morality. Everyone, check out Altered Morality. It is on the PEG channels. If you're here, you have no excuse for not knowing where it's at, because it's still here. Go check it out. And good to see everybody. Until next time, go out and play some Savage Worlds, or go out and watch some Knights of the Smith Dinner Table if you can't play some Savage Worlds. And until next week, may all your dice ace. Have a good one, everybody.
Keep it savage, folks.